This is the SAU Report, a program featuring interviews with the faculty, staff, students, and alumni of Southern Arkansas University in Magnolia.
Welcome, I'm Eric Waller.
And I'm Kezzie.
Today's guests are Ben Phillips and Meredith Codling. And our subject today is the BSU on the campus of Southern Arkansas University. Welcome.
Thank you. Welcome.
Good to be here.
Okay, could you give us some personal background information?
My name is Meredith Codling, and I'm 21. I'm a junior here at Southern Arkansas University and a marketing degree. I've gone to school here since I was a freshman, and I'm involved in Heritage Choir and Chamber Choir here at Southern Arkansas, and I'm also involved at the BSU.
Okay.
And my name is Ben Phillips, and I'm originally from Southern Illinois. I went to Southern Illinois University at Carbondale and got my undergraduate degree there in biology, was involved in the Baptist Student Union there on that campus, went to seminary at Southwestern Baptist Theological Seminary in Fort Worth, and after graduation moved here and have been working as the BSU director here on this campus for, it'll be 2 years in June.
Okay, Meredith, when did you become involved with the BSU and how did you become active?
When I came to school, when I was a freshman, I went to the BSU and we just got a new director. And I got involved by just getting involved in some different activities. Like we have, on Wednesday nights, we have a devotional time. And I was involved in that, just going to that and different activities throughout the semester. We have a lot of fun activities, and so I just started going to those. And that's how I got involved.
Okay, how did you become the director of the BSU?
Kind of a long story, but to make it short, BSU had a tremendous impact on my life when I was in college. And while I was in BSU, that's where I sensed God calling me into some sort of ministry. And while I was at seminary, I had the opportunity to work with college students at Texas Christian University. And a good friend of mine works as the BSU director at University of Arkansas at Monticello and recommended me for this position. Applied for it, and after several months of interviewing with different people, accepted the position here and have been here since.
Okay, Mr. Phillips, are there other BSU organizations around the country, and is this one on this campus, is it interactive with the other BSUs around the country?
BSU, when you look at all the other campus Christian organizations across the United States, BSU by far is the largest Christian student organization there is, and it's affiliated with the Southern Baptist Convention. And in fact, here in Arkansas, there's approximately 33 different BSUs on different campuses here. So, and we're involved with the BSUs here in the state of Arkansas at least 2 different times in the year. We have a fall meeting and we have a spring meeting. And then also there's different national kind of events that they have at least once or twice a year that we participate in.
Okay, for those who are not familiar with what the BSU is or what you stand for, could you kind of tell us a little bit about what you stand for in the BSU?
Probably the best way to do that is to kind of share what our vision is here, of being here on this campus. Our vision is that we lead students into a passionate relationship with Christ, and that we equip them to become multiplying disciples who serve God through the context of a local church to declare His glory among all peoples. And what that means is we just try to involve students in our organization through fun activities, through small group Bible studies, all kinds of different things, to introduce them to Jesus Christ, to help them to grow in a relationship with Him, and then eventually get them plugged into a local church. Because students are typically just going to be here on campus for 4 to 5 years, and they're not going to have a BSU to be involved in. And so once they leave here, one of our goals is to really see that students get plugged into local churches.
All right, how does a BSU differ from, say, a church youth group, or is there any difference?
I can answer that question. As far as youth groups, when you're at church, you have 7th through 12th grade. And between 7th and 12th graders, there's a big difference. When you come to college, everyone seems to be on the same level, even though freshmen tend to have a lot more fun than seniors. But BSU is, you kind of do the same things. You do have Bible studies, and you do have parties, and have a good time with each other. But it's on a higher level, and you don't have to worry about entertaining the 7th graders like you would in a youth group. As far as being on the BSU, it's just everybody seems to be on the same level as far as comparing them.
And Mr. Phillips, how does your job as director of the BSU, how is it different from saying being a youth leader in a church?
Well, I see more my role as a BSU director is not to do everything, not to plan everything. One of the things that we like to do in the BSU is develop students as leaders. So we have different student leaders. Meredith is one of our student leaders who's responsible for a different area of ministry. Hers is church events. So when a church calls us and wants us to do a worship service for them or to do a youth program, Meredith is responsible for planning that, organizing that, involving students in that. And I'm kind of in more of a supportive kind of role, helping her, giving her ideas, and just helping out in whatever way is necessary, and jumping in to take over if need be. But most of the time the leaders are strong enough and good enough that they plan through very well and get things done.
Which churches are you closely associated with?
We primarily work with 2 churches here in Magnolia, Emmanuel Baptist Church and Central Baptist Church. We also work with other Southern Baptist churches here in the South Arkansas area, which is probably somewhere around 100 churches here in the area.
All right, Mr. Phillips, how does the BSU differ from the ABS on the same campus? What's the difference, or is there any difference in the 2 organizations?
Churches that support them. Funding is probably a little bit different. I'm not as familiar with ABS and some of the other organizations, but the way we are funded, several different local churches in the area provide us with regular financial support that make up our operating budget, and then my salary is paid through the Arkansas Baptist State Convention. So I'm really not sure how much we differ from them. Programs, some of the things we do are probably a little bit different. And just because of my leadership style, my leadership skills, and some of the students that we have involved, there's probably a little bit different makeup overall.
So by saying that you're funded by other churches, being an active member of the BSU is at no cost to the students. Is that right? Or are ties involved, or how's that handled?
As far as fees or anything, we don't charge students to be involved in the BSU. It is a free thing. And when we do go on different events or different retreats, students typically pay for that. But some students don't have a lot of money to go on different things. And we do have different churches and church members who are typically willing to help out and help students in hard times.
Okay, what is the ethnic makeup of the BSU? Like how many blacks and maybe the international students?
As far as the ethnic makeup, we've started getting more international students in, and we don't per se, we have a couple of African American students, but right now there is a Black Student Fellowship that meets at the BSU on Monday nights and on Tuesday nights. So that's kind of, we're separated, but we let them use our building, and they have worship services and stuff. So as far as our ethnic background, we kind of have a mix of everybody who's on this campus. You could always have more, you could always have less of one race or the other, but as far as, I think we're a well-rounded group.
Okay.
Mr. Phillips, does the BSU help students find jobs in summer, particularly in the religious fields, such as other mission fields or mission jobs?
Yes, we like to. In fact, Meredith this summer, she's going to be serving as a summer missionary in Lake Tahoe. So that's kind of a neat opportunity for her. In fact, we, not only through our BSU, but several of the other BSUs across Arkansas, are sending out approximately about 150 different students here in the United States and internationally to be involved in missions over the summer. We have different churches that look for summer youth ministers, people to play the piano, that kind of thing. And typically we post job opportunities there in the BSU. So there are different kinds of ministry opportunities for students to be involved in. Some of them pay decent, some of them don't. Some of them don't pay at all. But we do try to encourage students to get plugged in to ministry outside of the BSU, especially in the summer when they're typically not around here.
How often do you have ministers to come speak to the students?
About once a week. We have a thing called Noonday on Wednesdays. It's a free lunch, and as been mentioned before, we have a couple of about 100 churches that support the BSU. So each Wednesday they come in and they provide a home cooked meal, which is really nice for college students because they miss that home cooked meal. And most of the time they bring their preacher or somebody from their church comes and speaks to us. So we get different speakers throughout the week and each week and then throughout the year. So it's really neat. And we get to meet the different churches around here and they kind of plug us in. And that's how, whenever at my church events, I kind of work through them as well. So it's kind of a give and take. They give us free meals and we go and provide services for them.
All right, this is for both of you. Meredith, you can answer first. Do you think that, particularly on this campus, SAU, that religion is stressed enough, and do you think there's enough opportunity as far as classes go that teach people about the Bible?
Well, I think this semester there was a history teacher that was providing a religious background for religions throughout the ages. But as far as that was one class, as far as being any more classes, there hasn't been. I think we could have more religious classes to make people more well-rounded in that area. A lot of people don't understand religion, or they'd like to get to know more about different religions. I think that's about it. What was the other question?
It was just, what efforts do you think can be made here on this campus to further religious education?
That's about it. And then just going out and seeing, if you're interested in different religions, the best thing is to go to somebody who has a different religion than your own. With all the international students that we have here, there's so much to learn about their different cultures and they're so willing to tell you about what they have back at home and talk about their home and their religions and all that.
One of the things kind of in relation to that, I have had some discussions with another professor here on campus. And in fact, we were just talking earlier this week that apparently in the past they did offer some religious kind of classes for students to take as an elective. And that's something I would like to see happen as a way for students to take a college credit course and learn either more about church history or some type of Bible survey class or something like that, where because I think there would be a significant interest among students to take something like that.
Okay, what are your responsibilities as a member of BSU, and what do you have to do?
Okay. As far as my responsibilities, it's on your own choice of what you want to do. I do a lot of things around the BSU. I'm on the leadership team, and you have to go through a process. You have to fill out an application and be accepted on the leadership team. Some of my responsibilities is bringing people to the BSU. You know, as any organization, you want to see people come to your organization and get involved, and that's one of my main priorities. I'm also on the praise and worship team, a praise and worship band. We provide music during our devotional time on Wednesday nights, and then during the church events, I'm involved in that. And then anytime we have special events, we have our ministry team and leadership team. We have about 15 people who are on it. And each person helps out on a certain area or a certain event. And so normally I try to help out in that area in one of our special events throughout the year.
All right, Meredith, do you feel that you're looked down upon by other students that know that you're an active member of a religious organization? Or how are you regarded by other students when you tell them that I'm a member of the BSU or I'm active in the BSU?
Well, living here in we're in the Bible Belt right now, so it's I think it's easier to live here than I would like up in Colorado or in more northern states because it's not as accepted. So as far as when I tell people I'm part of Baptist Student Union, they're like, okay, that's cool, you know. I don't think I'm looked down upon. I know our group just got back from Colorado from taking a mission trip. And when they mentioned, anytime you mentioned Jesus or Lord or something, most of the people turned around and walked away because they were like, you know, I don't want to have anything to do with that. And so I'm just grateful that I live down here in the Bible Belt, so I don't have to worry about that.
Would you like to see strides made in some of the other states, some of the northern states, maybe, Mr. Phillips, where students may feel more comfortable as part of a religious organization, as, say, Meredith does here?
Definitely. And that was one of our reasons for going on this particular mission trip. We went up to Boulder, Colorado, and worked with the BSU up there on the University of Colorado campus, and worked with a church that was starting up there in the area. And one of the things we did was a survey, a non-religious kind of survey, just getting feedback from people to see what their likes and dislikes were. And in fact, at our leadership training conference that we had just a few weeks ago, there was a representative there from the Northwest area, Oregon, California, Utah, up there in that area, who presented with us a brochure of several different opportunities for students as they graduate to move up to the Northwest area to either start new BSUs or start new ministries up there in those kind of areas where there's not that many.
Okay, do you offer any type of counseling services?
I meet with students quite often. A lot of times students will come in and just share problems or difficulties or things they're struggling with. And most of the time, I'm able to talk with them, listen to them, share some things with them that get them through their particular crisis. There have been a few occasions where I felt it was kind of out of my league. I'm not a professional counselor. And in those kind of cases, there's some Christian counselors here in the area that I typically refer those students to if it's something that I don't feel I'm equipped to handle. So I guess I'm kind of a first person a lot of times students come to. And then if I can't handle it, I just funnel it on to someone else.
All right, Mr. Phillips, you might be better equipped to answer this question, but while visiting with you earlier in the week, I read about a Cross Seekers organization. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how the BSU is involved with that?
Okay. Cross Seekers is an organization, an event. It's kind of hard to describe, really, but Cross Seekers is an event promoted through the Southern Baptist Convention, and we're going to be having a big worship teaching time down in New Orleans over Labor Day weekend. They're anticipating having anywhere from 10 to 15,000 college and high school students participate in that. And around that particular event is the Cross Seekers Covenant, which challenges students in several different areas of their life: integrity, personal relationships, witnessing, service, missions, and challenges them to make a commitment to this covenant and to make an impact on their campus and make an impact in their world. And in fact, one of the things we've been doing this past semester is talking about each of those particular areas. We're planning on taking a group down there Labor Day weekend, and are talking about having different small groups during the fall that will meet and talk about some of the Cross Seeker Covenant.
Okay, what activities do you sponsor on campus?
Activities that we sponsor on campus. Some of them, I know during the fall, during the freshmen, the first week when everybody's arriving here, we always have a pizza pig out for the freshmen. And this year we'll be doing that again. We try to bring in, I think this year we're going to try and bring in a band that would be open to the rest of the whole campus. We try to work with other Christian organizations and put our money together to bring in good bands and to bring in speakers. As far as other things that we do on campus,
We've been involved in spring fling. We probably gave away about 500 to 600 snow cones the other day to students, and we typically some of the bigger events that Student Life promotes or Impact promotes, we try to get involved in those.
The homecoming float. I know we got second place in homecoming float this year, and just anything that the school is involved in, we always are involved in. We give 100% to it.
Also, one of the things we do, we have a coffee house several different times during the year, which is just kind of a real informal time. We serve cappuccinos, espressos, coffee, that kind of thing. Sometimes we have live music there, people read poetry, plus some of just our other things that we do, special activities during the year.
All right, Meredith, we already asked Mr. Phillips about himself. What kind of impact has he had on your life as a student and as a Christian in your 3 years here at SAU?
Ben has challenged me every day. I meet with him once a week, and he challenges me to become a better Christian and to, in my weak areas, to become stronger. And he's just somebody I can look up to and that I can come to with my problems. And I think every college student needs a mentor. And as far as having a mentor, I think Ben is one of my mentors, and I think that's just important, and that's what he's had in my life.
Mr. Phillips, do you find yourself learning things from the students as you see them come through SAU and spend 4 or 5 years here and moving on? Do you find that you grow yourself as the students grow?
Very much so. One of the reasons I love working with students is they're very creative. It takes me a lot of time and energy and thinking to be creative, where they just got creative ideas coming out all the time. And so I listen to students, and gosh, I probably learn things from them just about every day, just from some of their insights, from their comments, and their input that they give me quite frequently.
What is your daily schedule?
It varies from day to day. Typical day, well, this has been a real challenging semester for us because the only time we could find to meet for our student leadership team is at 6:15 a.m. on Monday mornings. And I've been really impressed because we've had a pretty committed student group. I mean, for college students to get up and be there on time for meeting on Monday morning before school is pretty challenging. But we have that meeting for approximately an hour and a half on Mondays. And then there's some different administrative things that I typically do. Typically when I get to the office in the morning, I will spend some time reading my Bible, praying, kind of getting my heart right for the day, and then do some different administrative tasks, office work, make sure we have a part-time secretary that works for us. There's financial records for me to keep. I spend some time making phone calls each day, either to students or to pastors or churches in the area. A lot of my time is spent meeting with students, one-on-one, talking with them, discipling them. Some of it's spent playing ping pong and pool. Sometimes my wife will call and ask me what I've been doing, and I'll tell her, well, I was in the middle of a ping pong game. And she said, "You're at work?" And I was. That's part of it. Building relationships with students, doing fun things like that. Some of my time during the day is spent up here on campus, meeting students, students that I do know, and getting to meet new students that I don't know and talking to them about the BSU and trying to get them involved.
Do you find students today are taught religion more or have a better knowledge of religion coming out of high school to college as they did, say, even 5 or 10 years ago?
That's kind of tough for me to say for this area because I'm from further north, but I would tend to say that they're probably not. And I think a lot of that has to do with students' family backgrounds, because I think there's many students that are from broken homes where they don't have the traditional kind of family. And I think a lot of times students come from homes maybe where they started off going to church, but by the time they reach teenage years and get a car and that kind of thing, they stop going. And in fact, America as a whole, I don't think is as religious or as Christian as we used to be. And I think that's pretty evident in some of the things you see going on in our society.
Since you've been director, where have the students traveled?
Oh goodness, we've traveled several different places.
We've gone to New Mexico. Every summer there's a thing called Student Week in Glorieta. It's in August, and there's about 1,500 to 2,000 college students that meet there. And on the other side of the United States in Ridgecrest, can't speak today, Ridgecrest, there's also a Student Week. And so we've gone there. We went there last year. We went there this year. We're going to go this year. We've gone to Colorado.
Little Rock, where else?
We've gone to Dallas. We've gone to Austin. Over winter break, we went to Austin to a thing called Passion 98. And there was probably about 5,000 college students that was there. It was a little conference, and it was just kind of a time to worship and to hear speakers in different bands.
We typically take a spring break mission trip every spring break. We haven't set it in stone yet, but there's a good possibility we'll probably be traveling to Chicago this spring break of '99. So there's several different places we typically go. We're getting ready to take a canoe trip up to the Buffalo River coming up here in a few weeks. So we like to do a lot of things and get out and about.
All right, Mr. Phillips, how important do you think Christian organizations are on college campuses, especially in today's society?
I can't say enough about how important I think it is, because college is not just going to school and spending time in the classroom. In fact, if you'll talk to those who are involved in Impact, one of the biggest parts of college is getting involved in student organizations. And I believe the spiritual part of someone's life is just as important as the intellectual side. In fact, I'd probably say even more so, because from my belief, I believe that's going to make an impact on your life, not only in the here and now, but eternally. And so I think it's important for students at least to give it a chance, to try out, to go visit, to check out a Christian student organization. There's several different ones here on this campus, and I think each of them are good and different, and I think that provides a good variety for students to check out spiritual things, because that is an important part of a student's life.
This is for both of you. What direction do you see the BSU going into in the future?
Well, over the first year that I came to the BSU, there was a smaller group, and every year it's grown. So I can just see the BSU getting bigger in the next coming years. As we look at the BSUs around us, they have grown in the past couple of years, and so just growing and just getting more involved in the campus and reaching more people.
And I see us continuing to grow numerically, continuing to develop more mature student leaders who are able to handle and plan things adequately. And I can see us having more of an impact in students being involved in full-time ministry once they come through the BSU here, and hopefully getting more involved in local churches too.
All right, Mr. Phillips, I'm a student. If I'm a student, let's say I'm a student who is not familiar with God or with the BSU, what would you tell me to try to convince me to participate in some of the BSU activities?
Well, one of the things, I probably would not try to shove the Bible down your throat, so to speak, or thump the Bible over your head. Some people describe it that way. But for a student from a different religious background who's never been involved in church, one of the things I would encourage you to do is to just come to some of our fun things, just come to some of the different events, see what we're like, meet some different students. And I personally would make an attempt to build a relationship with you, just to learn more about you, your background, and build a relationship with you first, and then take the opportunity after that to talk about spiritual things.
All right, I want to thank my guest today, Mr. Ben Phillips, the director of BSU, and Meredith, an active member of the BSU. I'm Eric Waller.
And I'm Kezzie Rudd.
Thanks for watching.
The SAU Report is a production of broadcast journalism students in the Department of Theater and Mass Communication at Southern Arkansas University in Magnolia.